So it shouldn't surprise you that the Bud Light executive in charge of Bud Light hates people who drink Bud Light and thinks really they should all become transsexual. Here she is.
So I had this super clear mandate. It's like we need to evolve and elevate this incredibly iconic brand. What does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone. We had this hangover. I mean, Bud Light had been kind of a brand of fratty, kind of out of touch humor. And it was really important that we had another approach.
Yeah, fratty is bad. They're just so entitled.
You know, the fact that all of these adults are really griping and whining so hard because Bud Light did a branding campaign with the transgender activists is really beyond ridiculous. There's so many more important issues in the country, like people's finances, people's inability to send their kids to school, people's inability to pay for health care, people's inability to pay their rent and their mortgage, things like that. You know, but Tucker Carlson, he says, you know, Bud Light hates its customers because they do a branding campaign. And as I've talked about before, large companies, large brands do marketing campaigns with all kinds of people simply because they have influence. It's really not more complicated than that. You partner up with celebrities, you partner up with people who have influence because they can expand the brand. They can expand their sales into another audience, into another portion of the country. It's really not more complicated than that. But this is what these people whine and complain about, all the way to the point that they shoot cans, buy beers just to shoot them because, you know, the LGBTQ community is a thing.
But I am going to have to defend her because, listen, she's lying because she has to lie. Of course, she enjoys a frat culture. Of course, she had a good time while she was in college like every other person. But now, to survive in woke culture, you have to become a liar.
And one of the things that I've learned just to, you know, protect my mental and emotional health working in politics is I've removed myself from being too deep into online, being too deep into the politicization. Because at the end of the day, these people are whining and griping about things that don't matter. Normal people aren't thinking about this. Normal people aren't waking up and complaining that there's gay people on television. And, you know, like in The Last of Us, when there was an episode where there was a gay couple, that was in the game. And conservatives were whining and complaining that, oh, they're just trying to be woke and showcase gay couples, even though that was part of the original story where the show came from. You know, again, normal people are waking up and they're thinking about how they're going to make ends meet, how they're going to, you know, do well on their presentation for work. They're thinking about stuff like that. They're talking about this woman against frat culture because she was blowing up condoms when she was in college. Like, who cares? Nobody cares except highly politicized people.
There is a post-analysis that needs to happen here on why it is that Dylan Mulvaney for 365 days was able to openly mock women, to openly take the spaces of women, to get contracts from Ulta Beauty, to take, you know, contracts from other women and all these sponsorships, and nobody cared until suddenly Dylan Mulvaney traversed into a male space and it became unacceptable. Why? Because men don't tolerate this level of lies in the way that women do, right? We respond emotionally and not rationally. We should have been the ones to put an end to Dylan Mulvaney, but we didn't because we feel bad. And shouldn't we just feel bad for men that want to be women and mock us and put on lipstick and pigtails and call themselves a girl? I think not, Tucker, but woke culture says yes.
Even though all these men, including Tucker Carlson, are whining and complaining about somebody's face being on some beer cans, that's not emotional. That's totally rational. You know, shooting up beer cans. You know, men aren't emotional whatsoever. Men don't get their egos hurt. Men don't go on tirades. Men aren't insecure. No, none of these things. I mean, that argument is just incredibly ridiculous. And it always makes me roll my eyes when people say it. Because you have to go on things on a case-by-case basis. Some people are more in control of their emotions and others aren't. But that's really not a male-female thing. So this entire segment was ridiculous, but that's what they do with Fox News.